coffee. I'm currently, I've had to go dark for a minute. I'm sitting in the underworld, and I thought right now would be a really good time to talk about the subject matter that I've been putting off for a long time. But I figured I'm down in the underworld anyway, so why not? So I want to talk about, it's a controversial matter. Um, I don't care what anyone has to say in regards to reciting anything biblical. I'm a reverend. I've read the Bible. I read the Bible all the time. It is my source of inspiration and my source of whenever I need answers or healing, I go to my Bible. I'm still trying to learn the Quran. It's a little bit confusing. I keep trying to read it like the Bible. I also want to learn the Torah as well, but I'm having a hard enough time trying to understand the Quran. But I'm getting there. As an Indigenous reverend, I have to be available to everybody's beliefs, because there's Indigenous people in all cultures where their religions are like Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, the Jewish faith, and all of that. They're scattered far and wide. But Indigenous people, our gods came first before, we had the missionaries and all of that, bringing their gods and churches and missionaries and all that upon our lands, especially Polynesia and all that. But so I understand it. So I'm not going to have any arguments with anyone saying, but the Bible says blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to put it like this. I don't care. Like, I'm beyond caring because I'm a gatekeeper, and I have more than enough proof and more than enough people of high positions of power who are shitting themselves because they know how powerful I am, because they know my connection to God, because my science, my physics, my bloodline has permitted me to have the kind of relationship with God that He allows me to have these supernatural powers. So if God lets me say it and do it, and I have permission to do it, to speak on behalf of Him, because I'm trying to teach everybody how to sort themselves out and fix this bloody shit that's going on in the world. I'm in the underworld. I'm in dark mode. So don't push me. I've been sent here to teach everybody how to sort this crap out so that we can fix the planet. And we've currently got these morons over in Brazil chopping down the Amazon so that they can make billions and billions and billions to put in their own pocket. And now she's erupting, volcanoes, earthquakes, everything happening all over the place. And I've had enough. So now we're going to talk about Satan, the devil, and demons and what they really are. And I don't care. Anyway, Satan is not the bad guy. Satan is God's twin. When God isn't strong enough to, well, not strong enough. God, I always say that my dad, he's a hippie. Turn the other cheek. Let me deal with it all. But there are some things that go on in this world. There are some evils that people do that are so bad, it breaks God's heart. And that's when his twin steps in and takes over and deals with it all so that his brother doesn't have to. Satan is not the bad guy. Satan punishes those who hurt the pure and evil. There isn't, if you're a normal, average, everyday person and you don't bother with anyone and you just go about your business and stuff like that, Satan isn't going to deal with you. If you're committing sins, if you're committing crimes against the pure and innocent, Satan's going to come after you. But you have to invite Satan in. And well, you have to invite Satan in by letting the devil in. And the devil comes along and he tempts you with things that you can't resist. The devil knows exactly what you can't resist. And that's what he tempts you with. And the second you sign your soul with the devil, he'll keep pushing, like Epstein. He's the devil. And he tempts you and he tempts you and he gives you all these things that sound good and, connects you with all the right people. And then, everything. Let us, like Lucifer, especially when it comes to like hedonism and pleasure and Baal and Baphomet, those kind of devils. It's all about the ritual of self and gluttony and greed and pleasure and lust and, lust of the flesh and procuring gold and, having gold thrones and having gold this and all of that. That's Baphomet and Baal, especially, and they're the two that the people around Epstein worship, Baphomet and Baal. Their ultimate devil is, like, their head devil is Molech. Moloch, however you want. I can say Molech, but everyone says Moloch. I say Molech, but he's like the hierarchy devil that everybody else, the underlings, will worship Baal and Baphomet in order to appease Molech. But the second you sin to a point that's like a tipping point, there's always a tipping point. There's always, like, the devil will lure you in and tempt you in so far until you tip the balance where Satan's had enough. And then that's when he will come in and take you down. He's currently in the process of doing that with people like Gates and Trump and Musk and Starmer and Macron and all that, all the evil one, all the bad guys who are slaughtering people and hurting children and destroying countries and chopping down forests and that in order to please one person, in order to please one system, the Molech system, the mark of the beast. Lucifer even works for, is lower in ranks to Molech, because Molech is like the be-all and end-all. He's the one that demands the sacrifices of babies and children and, the frail and the poor and enslaves people. Baphomet has slaves as well, but Baphomet enslaves people with controlling their family lives, controlling who they have sex with, controlling, like, Baphomet enslaves people by keeping them bound by the laws of marriage is bad, the husband and wife system is bad, go out and have lots of lovers, go out and be gay, bi, trans, all that sort of thing. He enslaves people with indoctrination and thinking that being liberal with your body and who you give your heart to and that sort of thing is okay. Polygamy and all of that, multiple partners and not using protection and having lots of babies with lots of different baby mamas and baby daddies and all of that. That's Baphomet. Baal is Donald Trump's one. And you always know the ones who worship Baal because it's all about gold. If they could encase themselves in gold, they would, the golden calf, all that sort of thing. All these people that keep thinking that he's bringing in, that he's going to be king of the world. I saw a thing with Julian Assange the other day that absolutely broke my heart, where he was saying, people don't understand, Donald Trump isn't at war with these people. He's taking them all down so that he can, like, rule over everyone. That's going to be great and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, wow. Like, if this isn't fake, if this isn't AI, then the man I grew up, well, I say grew up, I've been seeing the man with the white hair since the 90s. And then when I figured out it was Julian Assange, The man with the white hair who looks younger than who is younger than he looks, coming along and blowing the whistle and paving the way for the birth of the new world, was Julian Assange. And now he's saying like Donald Trump wasn't on the list. Donald Trump is the man who's going to save everyone from everyone. And that he literally called him the ruler of the world, which is exactly, that's Baal. And I just thought, if this is true, then my childhood hero has fallen. He's no longer my hero, so I've lost my childhood hero if that's true. The only childhood hero I have left, was Vladimir Putin, who I sort of came to know when I was like 18. I'm 53 on Sunday. I'm in the underworld. I'm in dark mode, so you have to bear with me, because I have to talk in order to calm myself, because I'm angry. And I have to express that in a healthy way, in a constructive way. So I thought, why not use this opportunity to start teaching the world about the truth about Satan? Satan isn't the bad guy. People who are Satanists, people confuse devil worship with Satanism, because the Bible teaches you that Satan and the devil are the same thing. But the parts of the Bible that are real, that weren't made up, that aren't fake, God clearly states Satan and the devil. Satan has access to heaven. Satan, when God has meetings, Satan's right there. God can go into the underworld. In the Bible, it clearly states that God goes into the underworld quite a few times. And Satan goes to heaven. They have a mutual understanding that they are there to balance out the equals between good and evil. And this is what I'm trying to do. I've pretty much just given up all hope, thinking that I can save the king. Starmer's literally just throwing Prince Andrew under the bus. They're wanting to question Prince Andrew in America because of Virginia Giuffre's book. But she also mentioned Obama. Are they questioning Obama? Are they going to question the Clintons? Are they going to question everybody else that she mentioned in that book? Are they going to question Donald Trump? I thought there was no list. But there's only a list when it comes to Prince Andrew. And that poor man, and I know that he slept with a 17-year-old, but they're calling him a pedophile, and there's no evidence that he slept with any underage girls other than the one girl that consented. It was consensual. It was consensual sex. I'm a pedophile hunter for the underworld. I work for the Ministry of Souls. I have worked on cases that involve some of the deepest, most depraved, darkest people that the world will ever know. And I hunt these people down. And when I'm looking at him and thinking, holy crap, he's been blackmailed, they've 100% thrown him under the bus. He was Randy Andy. His only crime is that he probably has some sort of sex addiction. But he slept with a consensual girl. It was consensual. And now all these people are starting to come out and say that she set him up, that she blackmailed him, that she was lying, that she was making things up, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows it. Everybody's starting to come out and say, now hang on a minute, something's not right about this. And yet, they're only questioning Andrew. It's only Andrew being thrown under the bus. So now that little creepy cretin is in Brazil, plotting and planning on how to kill the planet and blame it on a non-existent climate change that the King and Prince William and that have just blindly walked into, which now they're going to get karma for. I don't even think I can save the King anymore. the more Starmer gets away with, the less I'm able to save the monarchy. And I'm telling you now, people of the Commonwealth, if the monarchy falls, the Commonwealth is screwed. You might not like the king, but the monarchy are the only thing that is stopping the dictators from taking over the entire world and putting Donald Trump in charge. And you can sit there and say, you know, the Republicans and that, boy, he's a great leader and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, if you can afford to live, if you can afford to feed yourself, if you can afford medical and all that, then great. But he hasn't delivered on anything that he promised in his election campaign. In fact, he's gone and done the complete opposite. I'm going to release the Epstein files. I'm going to hold them all responsible. There are no Epstein files. I'm going to arrest Fauci and Gates. Let's do business with them and give them tax breaks. He's lied straight to everyone's faces, and they're all just, I call the MAGA now the Magogs. Instead of MAGA, they're Magogs. The Gog and Magogs. So now what's happening is you're seeing all these people that are starting to come undone. You've got Tedros complaining about, oh, the World Health Organization are running out of money, boo-hoo. That's Satan. Because they killed enough people through the scandemic, and that now it's Satan's turn to take over and start holding them all responsible. All these court cases that people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and that are now having to deal with behind the scenes, that's Satan. That's Satan now coming around to start collecting on the debts of everybody who sold their soul to the devil. And I'm desperately trying to save the royal family, and they just keep signing more contracts with the devil, and so I don't know what to do anymore. So I've had to come into the underworld to sit with God, to say, can you come down here, Father, and like, what do I do? And he said, turn the video on and speak. So that's what I'm doing. I have no interest in saving world leaders. I have no interest in politics. I couldn't give two craps about politics. I care about the people, and I care about the planet, and I care about the future for children. As a mother, as someone who wants to build a creative art school for the silenced voiced children of the world and that sort of thing, that's what I care about. I always said if I had to run for Prime Minister in order to sort crap out, then so be it. But I really don't want to have to deal with any of that. I want to just get my justice, take my money, and go to a country where I can build the school where I don't have to worry about the presidents and prime ministers trying to euthanize the children under the name of mental health. Or like New Zealand, it's just come out that my own country, that I'm so ashamed, brought in the euthanasia laws where people have only just started finding out that not only will my government help kill you when you've had enough, they're going to take your organs, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because as I keep saying to the king and everybody else who isn't listening because they're just interested in counting their coins and their dollars, all they care about is organ harvesting. It's all about the organs. They need the organs. They want the organs. Got to have the organs. Go to war with Russia. Get the kids. Get the organs. Get the soldiers. Get the organs. Zelensky's lot have been caught multiple times on camera and with people making reports in there all over the place about how Zelensky's not even letting them die properly on the field before they've got them getting their organs out. A lot of Zelensky soldiers are dying because they're having their organs removed after they've been wounded in battle, and not because of what they've been wounded for in battle. That's the devil. That's the work of the devil. Zelensky sold his soul for cocaine, for the billions, for the houses, for the private jets, and people kiss his ass. Oh my God, he's a savior, he's a hero. They're all devils. They're a cult of devils who, how do I put it? The devil doesn't work for Satan. Satan the devil, the devils are a necessary evil for Satan, because the devils come along to highlight and marker and put the pointers down to say to Satan, these are the people you need to come and collect. Think of it along the lines of, the more souls the devil collects, the more Satan wins. Because the devil comes along and highlights the people who have fallen to sin. So then Satan comes and collects them, and then Satan gets his reward of collecting souls in heaven. Satan loves collecting souls, because the more souls of sinners there are in hell, the cleaner the streets for the pure and innocent. So Satan isn't the bad guy. Don't confuse Satan with Lucifer or Baal or Baphomet, because there's lots of devils out there with lots of names. Lucifer was a fallen angel who betrayed God because he was jealous of the fact that God loved man and wanted to give man things like rivers and oceans and whales and kittens and coconut trees and that sort of thing. And he's like, he couldn't understand why God wouldn't want to keep that all for themselves. And that mortified God. So God was like, if you're going to be greedy and selfish, you need to go. And so he kicked him out and removed his wings and all of that. And Lucifer is who I call Donald Trump. He's the mark of the beast. He wears the mark of the beast, the one who's forcing the mark on people. Demons, if you, I mean, okay, so we're talking about it from a biblical perspective first, right? So then demons are the minions of the devils, the police officers, the lawyers, the judges, the media, all the people who turn a blind eye, or, I'm just following orders, the Nazis and all that. No, I'm just following order. I'm just doing as I'm told. Or the ones who get paid to turn the other cheek. They're the demons. From a biblical perspective, when you're able to identify the difference, to differentiate between what God is needing you to look at and pay attention to, and what you're not looking at and paying attention to, when you see the truth of it, when you remove, if you can get it into your head that about 70% of the Bible, and I've proven on X, that there's people out there who have admitted that they made stuff up in the Bible in order to turn people's gaze towards certain religions, towards certain practices, blah, blah, blah. When you can understand that, and I do understand, this is why I was hesitant to talk about it, because I know the subject matter is going to piss a lot of people off, because they've lived their whole lives thinking, God good, Satan bad, the Bible is the word of God and blah, 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 but it's not. It's really not. The Bible isn't the word of God. The Bible is the word of man and God and man's interpretation of God's message. But the only times that God actually truly speaks in the Bible, he makes it very clear that the Son is a woman, that they have moon harvests and sun festivals, and they give offerings of, burning things like plants and burning incense and offering plants and, fruit and all of that to the neighbours, and that to come together to have like big celebratory festivals and that sort of thing. That's God. God who says, Satan and the devil and all of that, that's God. That's who he really is. And when you know the real God, you won't believe that you ever believed him to be like a dude sitting on a cloud with a big white beard. Because the real God is so much cooler. He is so much more... when I saw who God really was, when he unveiled himself and I saw who he really was, and how he actually doesn't have a problem with prophets and witchcraft, as long as it's done his way and with his blessing, I'm the proof of that. People think I'm a witch. People think I do witchcraft because they're morons. But the fact that I have the powers that I possess, that I can do the things that I do, is proof that God doesn't have a problem with any of this stuff. So for all these ministers and preachers and popes and all of that going around saying, this, that and the other, about, it's a sin to be a psychic and all that, it's a load of bollocks. God had plenty of prophets in the Bible that foresaw things. Daniel was absolutely fantastic at interpreting dreams, which is what I do. My channel is called The Dream Weaving Alchemist because I weave my physics. A lot of my physics is woven together while I dream because I can't do maths. So I have to do my physics using like language and imagery. I'm having trouble speaking because I was so riled up. I was so angry. But I've calmed down now, which is why when I said to my father, what do I do? And he said, go live, like start talking and go live because it'll calm me down. Because it has. Because I'm absolutely sick to death of fakes and liars and false people out there putting on this front that they're here to help, that they're, here to be a part of saving the world and all of that, and behind the mask, they're just pure evil. So people need to identify what a devil actually is, and the devil is the one who promises you all these good things to your face and then does the complete opposite behind your back in order to get everything they can from you, whether it's your soul, your organs, your body, your money, your career, your reputation, your contract, whatever. That's the devil. The devil can never get enough of what it is you are or what it is you have, because the more he gets, the bigger he feels, the more power he has, the more control he has over you. So people like Keir Starmer, even though technically he would be a low-ranking devil, and I suppose when you look at it on a leaderboard, he's probably more of a minion because he was paid to. Someone paid him like a few million quid to be prime minister, so that he could bring in all these draconian laws and kill the planet, kill the monarchy, kill the British, like kill God, kill it all, kill, right? Because see, with the devil, it's kill your happiness, kill your joy, kill what you love, kill your profession, kill your reputation, kill your career, kill the planet, kill the kids, kill the elderly, kill. The devil, right? That's the devil. It's about kill and control, take and want and lust and need, and like all the, you have your vices and your virtues. The devil is all about tempting people with the vices. And then when you sign your soul, it's really hard for you to get it back. You have to seek salvation. People like King Charles, for example, will have to seek salvation. The less he listens to the warnings, the further down he goes. It's going to get to the point where the only way he can be saved and to save the monarchy now at this point is to seek salvation. Start doing the right thing. Otherwise, he's going to fall with the rest of them and then the monarchy falls. However, if people listen to what I'm saying and put the right prime ministers in place, if they do background checks on the people who want to run for prime minister and president, proper, thorough background checks, and refuse anybody to run for an election who has any connection to, like, the IDF or Hamas or any terrorist organisation, anyone who's connected to Epstein, that sort of thing, anyone who has been paid by anyone overseas before they ran for the election, all that sort of thing. Do background checks. Do they have offshore bank accounts? Do they have stocks and shares and things like adrenochrome and vaccines and all of that? Do background checks before they're even allowed to put themselves in the running. Do a bloody background check. Don't let anyone in power who was born in politics. Don't let anyone run for power whose family have a history of being in politics. The only way we're ever going to fix the system is if we completely erase it and start from scratch. If the campaign money is coming from places like Planet Palantir, or Meta or Microsoft or anything like that, their funding should be coming from the local supermarkets and the bakeries and, the car mechanics and, the only people who know how to run a country properly are the ones who have had to work from the ground up in order to build themselves up successfully in their career or their business or their reputation. Not people because daddy did it or because, mama was a baroness and, the son of a toolmaker who just happens to marry, someone who went to school with Ghislaine Maxwell and all of that. So I'm talking about Keir Starmer and Mark Carney. And I'm just having a sip of my coffee. There are people like Viktor Orban out there who are being absolutely hammered by the devils of the EU because he refuses to play ball, because he's maintaining Hungary's right to stay a traditional Christian country, because you have to understand the coalition of the willing, NATO and all of that, the one thing that they're absolutely determined to do is tear Christianity and Islam apart. They want people fighting against each other. All these stabbings, all these things that are going on where it's the Muslims getting the blame, it's done by design. They want Islam fighting with Christians. They've started a holy war. And the only way that all of this is going to stop is if you don't give in to it. They are the devil poking you. See these cops that arrest you for holding the flags and that, they're the demons. And they poke you to get a reaction. They use their little weapons to turn people's minds all like giggly googly. And then they send them out to go stabbing people and run things over with cars and all that. So then they've got the excuse to come in and say, well, now we have to arrest you and, ID cards and lock them up, and we need to raise taxes because, Islam's a problem on climate change and all that kind of bollocks. And people are just like, do, 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 do. You've got your pockets of people getting angry, but getting angry isn't going to do anything. Getting angry isn't going to solve anything. I've literally handed you all the answers. I am reading the chat, but I don't care. I'm literally telling the world how to fix everything that's going on, but instead of listening and doing what I'm suggesting that will absolutely 100% fix everything that they're complaining about, they're just ignoring it and just walking around, like waving their banners and having their little protests and still complaining. Why? Is it because my grandmother was Muslim? Is it because I'm Indigenous? Like, they'll listen to Tommy Robinson, they'll listen to Katie Hopkins and all that, but they're not listening to me. And I actually have the answers. I actually know how to fix what's going on, but nobody's listening. Why are they not listening? Do they want it to be fixed, or is it because I'm not British, or like what? I don't understand. Because I've given you the answers. Keir Starmer's broken so many laws that if it was taken to the ICC while he's under investigation, he'd end up arrested for it. They could arrest him right now in Brazil if everybody did what I told them to do. He'd be arrested in Brazil or by the time he got back to the UK. So it's like, don't complain if someone's giving you the answers and you're not doing anything about it. I'm one person. I can't fix it on my own. I can't, like, with one signature go and petition the king. But if you can gather 5 million to demand a general election, just take those 5 million to the king, and then he's literally forced by law to have to fix it. Otherwise, according to the Magna Carta, you have the legal right to start a revolution against the king and the government. The king isn't going to want a revolution. because then he's out, and then he can be arrested for the same thing they're trying to get Andrew for, because they've made sure to let people know that King Charles did things to little boys when he was at school, and that he has a rampant, and I tried to warn the king, and I kept saying, and I kept saying, and I kept saying, and he's still not listening. So I can't do any more. And now I'm watching all these people jump up and down on social media, this person getting done for holding that flag, and this person being arrested for talking about Islam and blah, blah, blah. So the devil has sent the demons out, which is like the cops, the lawyers, the judges, the ones that throw you in prison for 2 years for posting a meanie tweet and that, they're the demons. And the only way that you can fight it is if you join God and Satan in tearing them down. Yes, Satan. Satanism has nothing to do with Satan. Satanism is for people who don't know the difference between Satan and the devil. Satan wants nothing to do with... Do you want me to tell you who Satan really is? Okay? What he looks like in real life. He looks like a Japanese anime character or a K-pop man, but with black wings. He's got beautiful, pure, like white skin. He's got dark eyes, like they're so brown they're almost black, like licorice. He's got black hair that's kind of swish and slick, and he looks like a K-pop man singer, or like a Japanese anime guy with the most amazing pristine black wings you've ever seen in your life. That's Satan in human form. He is immaculate. He is articulate. He is kind. He has, because obviously hedonism and all of that, like his tastes are exquisite. There isn't a single billionaire or millionaire on the planet that will have the kind of taste that Satan has in clothes and food. He is educated. He is patient. He is kind. He loves children and animals so much. He's so protective of them that the second he hears any of them calling out in pain, where their souls have to be collected or anything like that, at the hands of the devils and demons, he is right there. And when Satan comes down, when Satan has to turn into like when his wings come out and that mask comes off, he is not somebody you want to mess with. I would rather mess with God angry than to deal with Satan angry. But if you're just a normal, average, everyday person, he doesn't care. If you don't sin, if you don't fall to any of the vices, if you don't give in to any of the vices, you're invisible to him. He has no interest in dealing with people who don't sin. But for him to step in, the sin has to be bad enough that you tipped the scales and pushed God over the edge. Because the one thing that Satan cannot tolerate is watching God heartbroken. Seeing God hurt at how mankind is letting him down offends and hurts Satan greatly, because that's his brother. It's his twin brother. They say, when you have two or something, they're always opposites. Like, you have two cats, two different personalities. You have twins, two different personalities. Whatever comes in twos, there's always, they're different. So anybody who thinks that Satan is the cause of all of this, and rightly so, you see these people complaining in the schools and that about how, they've got like places for Satanists and devil worshippers and that. It doesn't offend me that they have these clubs. It offends me that these clubs have gotten it so wrong. They know nothing about it. Nobody should ever know Satan personally. If you know Satan personally, you've done something wrong. I know him because I work for the Ministry of Souls. But I don't worship him. I don't bow down to him, and he doesn't want to be worshipped, and he doesn't want to be bowed down to. He wants to be respected. Satan is the one you respect. God's the one you worship. Satan's the one you respect. You worship God because he's the truth and the light. He is the one who is the life bringer. He creates all the light. He is the light of the conscious universe. He is all the things that are good and beautiful with humanity and in this universe. He's who you worship. He's the one that you want to please and be in the favour of. But Satan's the one you should respect because he's the one you should fear. Only fear God if you've done something to offend him. And if you've done something to offend God, you're going to meet Satan. Because it switches from God to Satan like on the turn of a dime. And then that's when Satan comes in and fixes the problem. So, people need to understand that Satan in his human form is the sweetest, most articulate. He's very quiet spoken. Think of Prince, the singer Prince, like how he's very sort of quiet spoken and how he had that air of that aura about him, and the way that he dressed. And I mean, Satan doesn't dress like Prince, but like his suits are immaculate and they're pristine. His wings, the feathers on his wings are so clean and pristine that the light that reflects off the black feathers are almost blinding. Obviously, I'm talking about the mythological Satan because you're never actually going to meet Satan in real life. Satan is the energy of. But when he has to portray himself in physical form, he looks like a K-pop singer, like a K-pop guy, like a Japan, like Akira and all that, sort of pointy chin, very sort of fine featured. His black hair's kind of spiky and swish, and he's got those beautiful black feathers that come out. But my movie, my Hallowismas animated movie that I wrote, the Dear Satan Claus, which is going to be a Halloween Christmas movie, a family Halloween Christmas movie that teaches you the truth about who Satan is. And I think people will fall in love with who he really is, because he's charming and he's eloquent and he's everything that you want to be or be around. If you want to be around the true meaning of sophistication and class. But when he's called to duty, when he's called to defend his twin, when he's called to go and deal with the people who have hurt his planet, his kids, his animals, the pure and innocent, the defenceless, your mental state of being wouldn't be able to physically process the encounter on a psychological level. The fear would be that great that you would lose your mind the instant you met him. It's said that when you stand in God's presence, his light is so blinding you can't see and you have to cover your eyes. It's the same thing except with Satan, with Satan the fear is so blinding you want to cover your eyes because you don't want to see it, but it's embedded in your head, in your psychological mind, because that's where Satan and the devils and demons live, in your head. They feed on your fear. Devils and demons feed on your fear. The cops coming along and, arresting you for holding a flag, making you think that, you're breaking the law and they have all these rights over you and stuff like that. And in that video, I'll put a link in the description box below of my last live, I'm literally pointing out how illegal what it is they're doing, and that if enough people just got together and petitioned the king, it would all be over. Or go to the ICC, because you can make complaints of enough people. Go to the ICC or the Human Rights Commission and say These are the laws that Starmer broke before he got into power and after he got into power and blah, blah, blah. There's something like, I think I've amassed something like 11 or 12 international laws and Commonwealth laws that man's broken, that he's getting away with, that nobody knows about. And I'm trying to bang the drum saying, Your Majesty, look, 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 look. And people are like, do, count the money, climate change. So it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I know I'm going to be okay because I'm getting out of here. But I don't want to leave Great Britain to sink to the bottom of the ocean with Starmer. I know I've had my issues with this country in the past. They turned their back on me. Everything that happened to me is now happening to the people of Great Britain. All the violations that were done against me because I'm Indigenous is now happening to the people of Great Britain. So I was one person being persecuted for my faith and the colour of my skin, my ancestry. I was persecuted for my science, my religion, well, not religion, my faith, and, my ancestry. And I was one person having to fight the entire system, and now the entire system is now fallen prey to the exact same people, and I'm the one person who's trying to protect and defend them all. Except the only difference is I was screaming out for people to help me, and nobody came to my defence. Nobody came to help me with the human rights and Indigenous rights violations that were done, and the equality laws and all of that were broken against me. Not one person came to my defence or my aid to help me get justice. And now the same thing's happening to the whole of Great Britain, to most of the Commonwealth countries that, like New Zealand, Australia, Canada especially. And they say, nobody's listening. And it's like, well, hang on. I might only be one person, but I've been through this because I had to do the investigation for myself because the cops were only doing as they were told. And I've got the answers right in my hand because I had to find all these laws doing my own investigation. So you're like millions of people crying, saying nobody's listening, we're doomed, which is exactly what they want, because the devil wants to get in your head, and because they feed off your fear. People like Keir Starmer and that like nothing more than to know that they have that power over you. It's exactly the same as the same rush they get with the adrenochrome. They feed on the fear. They literally feed on the fear, which is exactly how they get the adrenochrome. So then, we're going to bring in the IDs and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then they sit back and they watch everybody panic. And they're like, they're feeding right into it. They're feeding us exactly what we want. The only way you're going to stop this is if nobody reacts to anything they say and they all band together. Muslims, Jews, Christians, atheists, Satanists, devil worshippers, whatever you want to call yourself, Catholics. The only way this is going to work is if everybody puts down their bloody flags. Don't be known by your flag, be known by your voice. If you're waving your flag about, you're marking yourselves out for the demons to come and take you away and haul you off to jail in handcuffs and stuff. If you put all your flags down and stand as one, Muslims, Christians, because the thing is, everybody's saying anti-Jew this, anti-Muslim that, blah, 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 but it's not. It's the instigators causing trouble for the Jews and the Muslims and the average everyday Jewish person just wants to be left alone. The average everyday Muslim person, average everyday Sikh, Christian, Catholic, they just want to be left alone. They just want to have their farms, raise their family, make their money, pay their bills. They don't even mind paying taxes as long as it's fair. They want to be able to put food on the table without worrying about, where the next meal's going to come from and if they're going to go cold and hungry and that. So people need to stop identifying themselves as I'm pro this and I'm pro that, and be pro-human. Be pro-mankind. Stop fighting each other and fight together to bring it down. You are more powerful together as one than you are as one by yourself together. You got this person with that flag and that person in the crowd with that flag, and everyone's got different flags. Well, what if you all just put the flags down and stand as one? Because at the end of the day, before Starmer got into power, nobody had a problem with Islam. Nobody had a problem with the Jews. Nobody had a problem with any of it. But what you need to understand is that God allowed Starmer and Trump and Zelensky and all of them, other than people like Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban and that, he put them in these positions, and with the world on fire as it is at the moment, to highlight to people, look at what you're not seeing. Before Trump's second term, before Starmer got in, nobody even knew this whole Epstein thing existed. And now everybody does. And now everybody knows the truth about their country's leaders, and that now it's time to do something about it. As far as what I've been able to understand, the normal average everyday Israeli is disgusted at what is happening in Palestine. And before all of this kicked off, all the Jewish people I knew, even the ones that lived in Israel, didn't even have a problem with Palestinians. I had conversations with people who lived in, oh no, I worked with a Palestinian guy and he used to come across the border every day and we'd get the bus and, this, that and the other thing. So all of this is happening not because the world is going to hell. I mean, it looks like it is, but it's because God is trying to pinpoint, and Satan is trying to pinpoint, you need to remove that leader. You need to remove that leader. You need to remove that leader. And if you remove those leaders, the world is going to be a whole different place. And then maybe Israel will still get to exist. Palestine will get to rebuild, because then you've only got people in power who are coming together for the common good of man. Let's have a sip. They flaunt these Hollywood witches, Obama and Kanye and all the, that witch. Well, she can't be very good at it. For all her money and all her fame and power and prestige and that, everything, all the people that she associates with, their careers are now on the toilet. People hate them. I don't think there's a single person that she is the witch for whose careers are going well, whose reputations aren't in the toilet. So she can't be that good. She can do whatever hex and voodoo, whatever blast she wants, but she's only a witch. The witch is the lowest in the food chain. Well, a wizard. The wizard is okay, so it goes witch doctor, because they sacrifice the living. If you sacrifice an animal to a god, you're a devil worshipper. You're a witch doctor. They're the lowest in the food chain of the occult. And then you've got wizard, and then you've got witch, and then you've got earth elemental, which is the Picts and the Celts, the Germanics, the Vikings and that, the ones that knew how to heal with plants and that, who taught their potions and formulas to the children to follow the generations to come, like me. For example, I'm an Indigenous woman, and all the stuff that I make comes from Papua New Guinea. It's all natural and it's all organic. But I'm Māori, and before the Māori got to New Zealand, there was nobody in New Zealand. So my people came from Egypt, North Africa, but also Scotland, Ireland, Germany, France, Spain, Chile, Peru, Mesoamerican. My people came from all over the place. So everything that I know would have been handed down from generation to generation to my ancestors who originally left North Africa. And it would have just been, all that knowledge would have been passed on. I haven't forgotten it. And that would be elemental, an earth elemental. That's that. That's that side of me coming out. And then you've got your warlocks, which is basically like a male elemental, and then you've got your sorcerers and your sorceresses, and then you've got your alchemists, and that's what I am. And the alchemists are the one who use science. A sorceress and a warlock and an elemental would never ever break the laws of the universe. All the rest of them absolutely break the laws of the universe. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to wear a pentagram or have a spell book with a pentagram and call myself a witch. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. If you're doing anything that harnesses the power of the energy of the universe, the planet, or the gods, you need permission to do it. You have to earn the right to do it. You can't just like dye your hair white and walk around with a skull and put photos of yourself looking spooky in a forest and that and call yourself a witch with some bones and runes and blood and feathers. And you can't do that. You're not allowed to. There are laws that have to be abided by, which is why there's a hierarchical system of the occult. And I'm a gatekeeper. I'm an alchemist. I'm a gatekeeper. I just wave the doors. I just wave my fingers and the doors to the universe open for me because I earned the right. It's taken me nearly 53 years to earn the right to have the power of the universe in my hands, but I do it for the greater good of mankind. I would never, ever, ever, ever dream of using anything that I do to cause harm to an innocent or someone who was pure. Never dream it, because I fear letting God down. The thing that I fear more than anything in the world is letting God down and pissing Satan off. So, do you read chat? Are you going crazy? Brody Smith. Hello. Hi, I subbed. Hi. Willow Bollock. Anyway, that's the other thing. Speaking of demons, see, when you say something on social media, I've seen people say the most innocent, have the most innocent opinion, and be slaughtered by people on social media. What you need to understand is that most of them are chatbots, whose phones, there'll be like a room somewhere in China or Israel or America or the UK or whatever, where there'll just be thousands of phones all hooked up to each other, who have been put in place to pick up on certain words or conversations on social media so that they can go in and cause chaos and friction to try and get you to argue with them. Because then when you argue with them, they have the right then to get you banned, get you, blocked, get you arrested, meanie words, blah, blah, blah. They'll come after you in droves with the email and the gang stalking and that. It's all done on purpose to trigger the low intelligence of people, because people of low intelligence argue differing opinions. They will argue their religion. See, I grew up Catholic. My mum was a Christian. She married a Catholic. She became a Catholic. My dad's mother was a Muslim. So, like, I'm everything. I've got, like, the Jewish, there's Jews in my family. There's, indigenous. I've got everything. I'm like a mongrel, right? So, I'm quite capable of having conversations with people from all different beliefs and religions, because I'm all of it and it fascinates me. I don't have like Hindu or Sikh or anything like that. I would love to learn these kind of things, these kind of religions and that, although I do give offerings to Ganesh and Shiva and that. But people who can't withstand holding a normal conversation with something that is fringe or goes against their beliefs. Like, if somebody says something to me that just sounds nonsense, or I'll tell them if they're wrong. Like, if they're factually wrong, I'll say, actually, that's not correct. It's this, that, and the other thing. But it's never done to be disrespectful. It's because the only way that we're ever all going to get along as if we can all agree to disagree. You have your opinion, I'll have mine, but we'll meet in the middle. Like, we don't need to fight over this. Why do you need to fight over having differing opinions? It's because the ones who start the arguments, their minds are so closed, only their mouth opens. When a mind is closed, their mouth opens. So when you're dealing with someone who has a closed mind, it's only their mouth that'll open. And it will like attack and target because they don't know how to process the information that you're giving them, because it's so far beyond their realms of possibility to ever think that that could be a thing. Their brain can't process it, so they automatically go into defense mode, and when they go into defense mode, they go into insult and abuse mode because they don't know how to articulate what their brains are processing. So don't give in to people like that try to bait with the insults and the abuse, or it's because they're pity them, because they're the ones who are going to fall when the old world fades and the new world is created. Because what's coming is you're going to have the intolerant being removed and the tolerant stepping up in their place. And the tolerant are the people that can say, come over to, like if you're Prime Minister, come over and we'll talk about it, or let's talk about it. Tolerant people would never fight things out on a battlefield. They would sit and talk about it through the courts or in a boardroom. Intolerant people put out the threats and the abuse, and we're going to fund the billions for this and cause more suffering. They're the intolerant. So if anyone's coming at you on social media and they're calling you names like that, it's because you've said something that has shut their psychological mind down, because they're unable to process differing thought. And when a person is fairly threatened by a new concept or new idea or a new psychology or a new science, their first reaction will be either to shut down and shut up, or to go on the attack and defense because you're scary. But that's okay. I want people to be scared of me. I'm absolutely someone people should be scared of. So, and I mean, everybody knows I'm not the person that you want to get on the right side, but I'm very, very tolerant. Like I tolerate a lot before I have to go into karmic judge mode. Before I use my FP72, I call it my finger of .72, like an AK-47. My finger's a gun. I just point my finger and I say to God, it's that one. Take that one. Deal with that one. It's him or it's her, or so, but yeah, I'm very, very tolerant like that. So that's from a biblical perspective. From a psychological perspective, Satan is the part of your conscience that goes, are you sure you want to do that? And that's it. He's the voice of reason. He's the one that, because Satan writes all the laws of the universe, and then he hands them to God, and God turns them into like commandments and all of that. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Then you won't ever have to worry about meeting Satan. But it's basically Satan saying, tell them, don't do this and don't do that, and everything's going to be fine. So that's what God does. God is like the messenger. I've written this book and it's got these laws that are telling you exactly what you should and shouldn't do in order to like lead a righteous life, so that you can enter the gates of the afterlife and never have to worry about meeting devils and Satan and all that, right? So Satan writes the draconian law. Satan is the one who wrote the laws of the universe. The karmic laws are all under Satan's jurisdiction, and when you break any of those laws, that's when you deal with him. But God is like the one that says this is what you need to do to avoid committing sin. And it has nothing to do with religion and everything to do with psychology and philosophy and evolutionary theorism and biology. Has nothing to do with religion. I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion in any way, shape, or form. But I believe in God and my faith. I would die for my faith, because faith is found, not taught. And your faith resides in your conscience, and your commitment and your level of faith is determined by the balance of your psychological mind. And God is the voice that says, do the right thing, take the moral high ground, be a good person, don't do anything to hurt anyone. And, when you're feeling down, come to me. And why don't you go and sit under a tree and listen to the birds and have a nice meal with your community? And, look at how wonderful the sun and the moon are. That's God. He's a hippie. That's the conscious part of your mind. That's God is that part of your consciousness that just tells you to, just do whatever makes you happy and don't hurt anyone. Don't take anything that doesn't belong to you, and be good to people and look after those less fortunate than you. And if you have more than enough, share. That's God. Love all creatures, great and small. Whereas Satan is the voice in your head that goes, do you need another drink? Knowing that you're an alcoholic? Should you be getting behind the wheel of the car? Should you be drinking and driving? Do you really want to do this to that person? Are you really sure you want to rob that bank? Are you really sure you want to go down there and commit that thing that you're planning on doing? That's Satan. And then depending on which voice you listen to, your subconscious mind, which is where Satan resides, or your conscious mind, where God is, will decide your fate. And that's it. And the devils are the people who tempt you into sin. Like, for example, come with me, I'm going to go and beat that person up because they looked at my girl wrong and blah, blah, blah. And then you and your pals go down there and someone gets stabbed. And then you all end up getting locked up in prison. And it's like, man, I shouldn't have listened. I didn't listen to that voice in my head that said, don't go there. Even if that voice is coming from your mother, your friend, someone off the telly, don't do it. Don't go down there. That's the devil tempting you, saying, just, you're my friend, you're my pal, be my backup, that sort of thing. That's the devil tempting you. And then right up until you commit that sin, you have every opportunity to make a different choice and save yourself. And if you don't, then that's when you get held accountable for your sins and your actions. So then, the devil is the one that tempts you to sin, the one that tempts you to commit adultery, the one that tempts you to, send the picture of your private part to a person who wasn't even asking for it. Like that's lust, and that's a sin. You should only be lusting after the person you're in love with. Love and lust only go hand in hand when it's the person that you can see yourself committing yourself to for the rest of your life. You should have a lust for life and a lust for the person you're in love with. Otherwise, the other kind of lust is sinful. And I know this, it's no judgment, because before I got married when I was 21, I was living quite the single life. I had my parents' permission to do it, though. Basically, while you're young, go out and sow your wild oats, but use protection. Don't go bringing home any, unplanned pregnancies and STDs and that, and you'll be fine. Then once you get married, settle down, and, stay married forever sort of thing. So I met my first husband when I was 20. I've slept with 2 men since I was 20. I'm 53 on Sunday. I've been married 3 times, although my third husband, it never happened because he was in America in prison. I'm just not even going to go there with that story because it's like the biggest embarrassment in my life. But yeah, I've slept with 2 men since I was 20. So, yeah, 33 years I've slept with two men. But prior to that, I was carefree and single and I used protection. I did what my mother said. So, yeah, there's good lust and there's bad lust. There's good greed and there's bad greed. Like some people say, I've had people say to me in the past, oh, you go on about, money being evil and, you keep going on about millionaires and billionaires and that, and yet you're sitting here saying that you want to make as much money as possible and that this app is worth this many billions and blah, 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 and all you do is talk about money. And it's like, yeah, I'm greedy because the more fruit and vegetables I can pick, the more I can feed the children who are going hungry. I'm out to make as much money as I possibly can so that long after I'm gone, nobody will go hungry in my school. The kids that we rescue, the kids that we school, the kids that we house, the staff will never have to worry about not getting their wages paid, not being able to pay the rent or the electricity or anything like that. And the only way that's going to happen so that I can die with a clear conscience, because I couldn't die knowing that I'd left people at my school worried about whether they were going to be able to pay the gas and electricity, sort of thing. So I have come up with ideas and created things worth so much money that when I'm able to actually put them out there, the kids and my staff will not have to worry about a single thing long after I'm gone. So that's why I'm greedy. It's a good greed because I've the little red hen. I've gone out and I've planted all those seeds, and I'm waiting for the crops to come in so I can then pick the harvest and then feed it to the children who are going hungry, and then offer the remainders as discount fruit and vegetables to the people in my community. So yeah, so I'm not doing anything I need to be ashamed of. I'm quite happy to stand in my truth, knowing that it's lost me every relationship I ever had because they couldn't stand the fact that I refused to live a lie. I can't tell a lie and I can't live one. And we are all supposed to be like this. But the trouble is, nobody wants to do the work on themselves or on their country. They'd rather just sit on social media and complain. Won't somebody do something? Nobody's helping. It's like, I'm trying to help. I'm trying. But I can only do so much. Because what's going to happen is if you don't listen, Great Britain, I'll walk away and I get to do my thing, and then you're going to have to deal with the fallout of the consequences of not listening. And then you've only got yourselves to blame. You can't blame anyone for the problems going on in your life if you're not doing anything yourself to fix it. And when you're dealing with a degenerate government like the ones that we are here in Great Britain and like New Zealand and Australia and that, the only way we can deal with it is to deal with it together, not white Christian Australians, not white Christian British. It has to be everybody. I'm not talking about the illegals. They need to go. I'm an immigrant. I came here legally. I respect the laws of Great Britain. As an immigrant, I think there is no greater honour than for a country to say, you know what, we think you're worthy of living here. Why don't you come in? I hold my visa with Great Britain with great pride because even though I came here thinking it was to be with the man that I loved who ended up trying to kill me and take everything I created, what I've created living in Great Britain for these 25 years is because I lived in Britain. I wouldn't be the woman I am now with the powers that I have, the science I have, the knowledge I have, if I was still in New Zealand. Great Britain taught me how to time jump, taught me history, introduced me to art and culture, that all ended up becoming everything that I'm getting ready to walk into now. I'm proud of my visa. I'm proud of my British ancestors, which is why I stand and fight for Great Britain, even though I wasn't born here. My ancestors were, my great grandfather was Irish. You know, I've got my great great grandparents were Scottish. I've got English ancestors and all that as well. So I'm proud, but it's like I'm trying to help. It's like people are drowning in the ocean, screaming for a life raft, and I've come along with the life raft, but they're choosing to swim alongside the boat because they don't want to climb in the boat. Well, if no one's going to help, like lift me into the boat and climb me into the boat, I'll just swim alongside it and complain about how tired I'm getting. And it's like, people, come on, come on. I'm giving you the answers. The answers are right. And the thing is, the solution to the problem with Great Britain is so easy. Everybody's like looking for these big high end solutions and get this president involved and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, all you got to do is take all those signatures demanding a general election to the king. He's the next in line. When the prime minister and the government don't listen, he's the one step over. And then because of the Magna Carta, he has to listen. Otherwise, if he doesn't, you're allowed to legally start a revolution. And I know all of this because when I had to do my own investigation to defend myself against the British. And now I'm a Kiwi, I'm a Māori Arab girl, standing here in Yorkshire by myself, now trying to help Great Britain. When they turned their back on me, I didn't turn my back on them. And that's how you tell the difference between a gatekeeper, someone of my level of occult awareness, and somebody who's a witch. So, because I use my powers for good and not for evil, I have never ever once used my gift to curse anyone who tried to kill me or gang stalk me or any. I've never put a curse on a single person who's done that to me. I have never used my gift to take anyone. I could, trust me, I could use my gift to take someone's life like that. I could take them in their sleep. I could have them just hit the floor. They could be walking and boom, down they go. I could use my ability to manifest using energy and biorhythms to make cars crash, to blow people's phones up, that sort of thing. I know how to do all that sort of stuff, but I don't do it because that's not my job as a karmic judge. I point the finger and I let God and Satan, I let the universe deal with it. I put them on the scales, and then it's up to God and Satan to weigh it all out, so to speak. I'm talking metaphorically speaking, obviously, because I need to be able to talk in a language that the average everyday person is going to understand. So I would never, ever, ever use my gift to hurt anyone where it wasn't warranted. I will put words out to let people know you're in trouble, but it's not me that causes that trouble. And then what happens is, because of the level of respect I have, because of everything my ancestors have done to earn me this respect, and the power that I have with quantum magnetics, the universe goes, okay, so she's wanting us to weigh that person's soul. She's asking us to look at this person. We're going to put them on the scales, and if she's right, we're going to let her get away. We're going to let her have what it is she's putting out. So if I say to you, words, you're in trouble, wait for it, the universe goes, is she allowed to do that? Has she earned the right? Yep, she has. Boom, done. And then that's it. The person gets dealt karma. Even though I'm sent out as a karmic judge, I'm still not allowed to get away with the words that I place on a person. Like if I say, the only way this is ever going to make sense is if you know my work. If you've just walked into this blindly, you're not going to understand a word I'm saying. But if you know who I am and you follow my work, you're going to know exactly what I'm saying. But if I put words out there and I'm warning someone, like I'm warning you, this is going to happen, what happens is it gets sent out into the ethers, and then the gods and my ancestors weigh it up and go, is she asking too much of us? Has she earned enough in karmic coins to earn the right to have what it is she's asking for happen upon this person? And they haven't turned me down yet. Everything I say ends up happening. There's some things that don't happen. See, like with the king, for example, he was told the choice would be yours. You either fall with Stama or you rise with Britain. If he falls with Stama, then he will lose his throne, and it will become England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and not Great Britain, like they'll be independent countries. That won't be a bad thing if they choose the right leaders, but they have to make the right choice in who they let in. You're better off having a farmer or the son of a farmer who never even went to school, who's so respected by his community that they want to fund him enough to make him Prime Minister, that they help get him into power, running the country, better than someone like Starmer, who grew up in the Freemason household. And he is a Freemason. I've put the evidence up. They are all connected to politics from childhood. They've all got family that even me. There wasn't there a New Zealand was it British or New Zealand Prime Minister called Callaghan? Was it New Zealand? I can't remember. A New Zealand or British Prime Minister called Callaghan? I mean, he's bound to be related. But it's your bakers, your candlestick makers, all of them. They're the ones that should be running the country, because they're the ones who have had to put up with the tyranny for so long. They're the ones who suffer the most. The business owners, the farmers, the people paying tax, the ones that are going out working their asses off and getting little in return. These are the people who should be running the country. The one who wants the power should never be put in power. The one who doesn't want the power is the one who should be running the country, because he'll do a better job at it. So, or she. So, yeah. So then your demons, from a psychological perspective, are all the things plaguing your life that you're refusing to look at, that haunt you, like childhood trauma, not getting things off your conscience, things that are, eating away at your conscience, things like guilt. If you've committed a crime and you should confess, and it's the guilt and all of that, they're your demons. They are the ones that haunt your mind. They're the ones that keep you awake at night. They're the ones that give you your mental illnesses and your paranormal activity, because you're basically psychologically caving in on yourself. So the less you look at what you refuse to look at, the more it weighs heavy on your soul. You end up caving in on yourself, and then you end up with like mental health issues and addictions and fetishes, and you end up like in abusive relationships, and or being abusive, having anger issues, that sort of thing. They're your demons. They can also be things from past lives that you haven't dealt with either. So like demons can be past life debt that you haven't paid off because of things that you didn't look at or deal with in past lives. But they can also be traumas you haven't looked at from past lives as well. So, for example, if you've got a phobia for something, just say, I'm just off the top of my head, I don't know why he's scared of water. He has no reason to be scared of water, but ever since he was a baby, he's been terrified of water. and then you do like a past life regression, and it turns out that you died on the Titanic, and instead of finding out where the trauma comes from and dealing with it and healing from it, you just keep avoiding water and being around water, and letting yourself absorb that fear when you're around water. And then because the confusion of not knowing, but I asked my mum and she says she genuinely doesn't know why I'm scared of water and stuff like that, and then it becomes a phobia, and anxiety and fear and paranoia sets in, and no, I don't want to go to the beach, and you're having panic attacks and meltdowns and that, but you have no idea where it came from. That's a past life trauma. So then you need to sit with that and deal with it, and grieve the loss of that person that you were, and let that side of you go, and then it heals the trauma. So it was a past life thing. Well, that version of me's dead now. So now that I know where it comes from, I can release that and let it go. I have no reason in this life to be afraid of water. So I might just go and put my feet in the river and see how I go, sort of thing. That's how you heal the demons in your head. So so you've got your biblical Satan, devil and demons, and then you've got your psychological. Depending on what you want to believe, depending on your mindset of whether you prefer to have like the religious understanding of it or the psychological understanding of it, that's Satan, devils and demons explained, depending on whatever it is you choose to believe. So, who is Mr. Rose? Loved your poetry about Mr. Rose. Oh, thank you. Mr. Rose is the love of my life. Mr. Rose is the man I've been dreaming about ever since I was a little girl. I've been seeing him in my dreams ever since I was a little girl. And I've been trying to find him ever since. He's the man in the moon. Because, when you're sitting at night and you've had a dream about the man you've been dreaming about since you were little, and you look up every time the moon is out, when you dream about him, I just call him the man in the moon. He's like the other half of me. We're literally like two peas in a pod. It's just, on paper, like, to look at us, we're absolute complete opposites in every way, shape or form. Like, if you saw us standing side by side, you'd be like, huh? Because we don't look like we would belong. But under the surface, we're like two peas in a pod. We're like completely identical. So, that's Mr. Rose. I call him Mr. Rose because Roisin is Irish for rose. I want to have a baby. Even at 50, nearly 53, I want to have another baby. I'm hoping I can have a girl, and I want to call her Rose. So Mr. Rose is like basically saying baby daddy. He's my baby daddy, my future baby daddy. I mean, God, I don't, whatever. Anyway. So I'm going to go now, but that's that explained. But I can't help you if you don't listen. I can't, the answers are right there. The answers are right there. You can make all of this go away within 24 hours, 48 at the most, with people like Starmer and, your Prime Ministers of Canada and all that. You can make all of it go away within 24 hours, 48 hours, if you just do what I say. It's all right there. I've handed you the answers. I've given you the cheat sheet. And if you don't do it, then I don't know what else to say. It's just, then don't complain. Don't go on social media and complain about how nothing's been done if you've been given the answers and you're not doing anything about it. But the one thing you absolutely must do is you together we stand, divided we fall, and sole intention is to divide everyone, to keep the Jews over there and the Muslims over there and the Christians over here and the atheists over here and the Sikhs and the, you know what, they want to keep you divided because then they can keep an eye on you. The thing they fear the most, the thing that all of these devils and demons in real life fear the most is everybody coming together as one. So give it to them. Give them the one thing they don't want. Everybody coming together as one. You might be silenced, you might be quiet as one voice, but if you are all speaking together, saying the exact same thing, you'll create a sonic boom so loud it will be heard around the world. Together we stand, divided we fall, and almost every country on the planet is dealing with the exact same thing. Almost every country on the planet is dealing with corruption and people who just want your organs and your kids to do bad things to them. And the one thing they don't want is everybody in the world figuring that out and then putting down their flags and their beliefs and their whoever their gods are and coming together to stand together as one and going, no, we're not doing this anymore. You know, the only way it's going to work is if we work together. Symmetry. So I'm going to go and have another coffee now, and I will speak to you later. But I am trying to learn the Quran, and I do want to learn the Torah. I did try a few months ago to find a copy of a Torah for cheap on the eBay and that, but I couldn't afford it at the time. But yeah, I want to have like all the Bibles and holy books and that there. I want to be versed in all of them so that when I am able to go to the remote parts and get these children and bring them to the school and that, whatever their religion is, whatever they're needing at the time, that they need it. I've got the God, the book, the Bible, the place for them to go to do what it is they need, because when my kids and staff come through my doors, there will be no discussion of religion or politics. It will be personal to you. But when you want to go and sit with your God and your Bible or your Quran or your whatever, there will be a place for you to go. And my children, they will have the teachers there that they need for what they need. They can have their own little groups and have their own little gods and their own little places and stuff like that, and nobody's going to say a thing, because nobody has the right to tell you that your God is wrong. Well, unless you're unless you're me and you're practicing them wrong. You know what I mean when I say that. Like, if you want to be a Muslim, be a Muslim. If you want to be a Christian, be a Christian. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. As long as you don't push your views onto anybody else, because that's the thing, your relationship with God is personal. And yeah, you want to shout it out to the rooftops that you love your God and all of that, that's fine, that's fair enough, do that. But don't necessarily do it in my house. You know, do it in your house. If you shout loud enough, or if you put out enough of a good word about your God and your faith, people will come. Be the leader that people want to follow. Otherwise, you're just shouting and ranting and raving and forcing opinions into people's ears that they don't want to hear. And I know people say, well, isn't that what she's doing? It's different for me because I'm here to teach you. I'm the teacher. I'm the messenger, I'm the teacher. I'm trying to awaken everybody up, to show everybody how this is supposed to be done. I grew up with Muslims and Catholics and Christians all in the same house, having Christmas and Easter and all these festivals together. My Muslim grandmother used to do the whole Christmas presents. She didn't used to put trees and have Christmas carols and that, but she loved doing the presents. I loved getting presents from my Muslim nan. We used to see her on Boxing Day. Sometimes we'd go and get her for Christmas Day, but we lived in the military camp. So, yeah, she used to spend Christmas with my aunties and that. But yeah, sometimes my dad would go and get her on Christmas Day. Sometimes it would be Boxing Day, we'd go and see her and that. But she always had the presents and the big boxes of fruit. And my nana, my Sitby, my Arab nana, she was obsessed with discount fruits and vegetables and that from the supermarket. And then we'd turn up and we'd go home with like boxes of pears and apples, and oh bless her, I love it. She was in the 1920s and 30s, late 19, well, say early, because my dad was born in what, 30, was my dad born 36 or 37, 1936, 1937. By the time he was born, she was a divorcee, Muslim, businesswoman, immigrant to New Zealand in the 1930s, who became a really, really successful businesswoman. She ran boarding houses, and she made a lot of money. Like, she was very wealthy. Apparently when she died, they found money hidden in her walls because she didn't trust banks. So she was the one that taught me how to make all my perfume oils and scented sprays and all that. She used to have all the perfume bottles in that in her room. You know, we used to press the little poofers, and I was obsessed as a kid. And yeah, she's the one that taught me. So my Muslim grandmother in the 1920s and 30s, because I don't know where she got her money from, but she divorced my Catholic grandfather at a time where it was unheard of. She was an immigrant to New Zealand. And she was a single mother, which at the time was unheard of. And she rose in Palms North in the Manawatu and became a really respected boarding house owner. People respected my nana. That was my Muslim nana. So I have no, if anyone says I'm anti-Muslim, but then I'm Catholic, and my mum was Church of England until she became a Catholic, so I'm everything. They've been able to trace my ancestors back. They're saying that Māoris are related to Jews genetically, and Mesoamericans, which we know about, and even Indigenous China and Taiwan. They've been able to trace us back genetically through there, so I'm everything. So, I can be the voice of reason. I'm very good at playing the devil's advocate. Literally, I've just played the devil's advocate in this chat. So, if you don't have a leader who can't play devil's advocate, who isn't able to see both sides, who isn't able to keep calm when you've got people like that shouting ridiculous nonsense and stuff, these aren't people that you want in power. You got people like Keir Starmer having arguments with Prince William over how he got caught saying we need to get rid of the monarchy. Everything that I said he was up to, he got caught on, it wasn't video, on voice recording, I think. Somebody recorded him having a dinner party or a meeting or something with some people where he was caught saying that the monarchy's outdated and it's time that we got rid of the monarchy, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. And he was caught, recorded, and somebody took the recording to the king, and then apparently Prince William went ape. But they're still there in Brazil chopping down hundreds of thousands of trees in order to save trees. Save the Amazon, chop it down so we can have this meeting. Just the mindless stupidity of the people whose egos are being fed, stomping around, climate change, it's got nothing to do with saving the planet and everything to do with filling their pockets with money. Every tree they chop down, every lie that they tell about the polar ice caps, every lie that, what we should be doing is cleaning up the planet. Don't chop the trees down, plant more. Clean up the waterways so that our fishies and our oceans and that have lots of clean water. Just, stop dumping toxic waste into the waterways. clean up the waterways, plant trees, pick up the rubbish, no toxins in the food, no toxins in the soil, no fracking. We need to start mining again. Instead of having electric vehicles that are destroying the planet, and AI and grok and all that is absolutely eating the planet like acid on a slug, we should be going back to gas and coal and oil, because it relieves pressure from Papatūānuku. And when you release the pressure of the gas, because we're never going to run out of oil, and we're never going to run out of gas, and we're never going to run out of, as long as we've got trees and soil, we'll never run out of coal. Like, it will be infinitely just regenerating itself. But when the pressure isn't released off the planet, that's when she has the earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions and that, and then we have to suffer for it. But when you mine and you get the coal and you get the gas and you get the oil out, it's like relieving pressure. It's like bursting a boil on her. And then she can go, ah. Oh. And then seeds and plants start sprouting. And then animals start having babies, and whales are singing again. You know, the whales have stopped singing. So that's what we need to be doing. And until we get people in positions of power who think along those lines, rather than people like Miliband and Starmer and all the rest of them that are at that fake We Care About the Planet conference that has cost billions, that they could have spent, instead of, they could have just had Zoom calls, but they took private planes and all that. It's probably cost tens of billions of pounds to hold this summit. They could have just used that money to plant trees and clean up the rivers and lakes of all the rubbish, and made sure that there's no overfishing, and clean up the all the nets and that, so that the ocean animals aren't getting caught in it. There's those kids from, was it Somalia or Sudan, who have invented that machine, that robot that goes in the ocean and cleans up all the rubbish. Why aren't they investing in that? Instead of chopping down the Amazon in order to protect the Amazon, I still don't understand that part. They should be investing in these kids from Africa who have invented this machine that's going to go around all the oceans and clean up all the rubbish. You know, there's things out there that will clean up oil spills that they can use on a smaller scale. I had said to the king, use hemp, make weed legal, and use hemp to make like special lint brushes kind of thing to sweep along the rivers and lakes and that, to pick up all the oil and crap that has been dumped into the rivers and oceans and waterways. We need to be finding these factories that are dumping all their toxic waste into the rivers and oceans and waterways, instead of spending billions of pounds flying on a plane to talk about how we should be taking care of the planet, so let's chop down trees. They should be investing in this sort of stuff, but they're not. Because they don't actually care about the planet. They care about how much money making us think they care about the planet is going to make them. And so if you just... I can't speak for any country that isn't a Commonwealth country. I'm not even sure if these laws that I'm telling the British people to follow will apply to other Commonwealth countries, but I'm going to assume that they are. You're going to have to find that out yourself, but specifically people of Great Britain, if you just do what I told you to do in the first place, within 24, 48 hours, Labour will be gone. Because the last thing the King's going to want is 5 million signatures sitting in Buckingham Palace demanding that he do something, lest they take his crown. Because if the King then refuses to listen to the people have the right to create a rebellion, a revolution. And they're already calling for King Charles to be arrested. Abolish the monarchy and arrest him. And it's all because of Keir Starmer and him not listening to me saying he wants to get rid of the monarchy. People are like, oh, what a load of rubbish. I had people in my own family say to me, there's something wrong with you? Like, he's not out to, why would he's not out to destroy the monarchy. And then he was caught on tape. We need to get rid of the monarchy, they're outdated. It's all there on my social media. So, yeah, Satan, devils, and demons, and even just being down here has calmed and soothed my anger because I didn't know how to handle the packet of information I just received about somebody somebody I love. But I've just decided it's not my problem. I'm not going to do anything. He's the one that's going to have to fix it because I'm not fixing it. Because I'm the one that always fixes it, and now it's his turn. Otherwise, I'm not. I'm just not. Because I just don't want to deal with people who create drama in my life. Because I'm trying to put people on the straight and narrow. I'm trying to guide people in the right direction. And so I just don't want to have to be dealing with people who are trying to cause trouble for me in my life in regards to the people that I associate with. So I've just decided that I'm not going to say or do anything. He knows the situation. He knows what he's got to deal with. And if he doesn't deal with it, it's not my problem. I don't care. I've stopped caring. All I care about is saving the children, saving the planet and the animals. Animal conservation, planet conservation, and the children. That's all I care about. And God will lead the way. And Satan will clear the path. And if people want to take that word Satan and be like, oh my God, she's you're an idiot. You're the problem, not the solution. If the thing is, we're talking about thousands of years of misinformation about two of the most important characters that we need to be focusing on right now. The one who leads the way to peace and balance and salvation, and the one who watches over us to make sure that we get it. So, and if you don't want to listen to that, then you're the problem, not the solution, and I don't want to deal with that. I have no interest. I'm here for the people who want to actually do something to fix their lives and to fix the problem with the world around us. Otherwise, I don't care. I'm not there for anyone else but the people who get it. But if you get it, and you all get it, and you all start listening to what I'm saying, and we all start coming together, within a couple of days, people like Keir Starmer won't even... he's still in Brazil as far as I know. If we got onto this right now, what's today, Friday, he'd be gone by Monday. His government would be shut down by Monday because the second you went near the king and petitioned him with the vote of no confidence and took those signatures to him and petitioned him, he would have no choice but to shut it down, because if he didn't, he'd be the one getting shut down, and you'd be well within your rights to do it because of the Magna Carta. Our British ancestors knew exactly what they were doing when they created the Magna Carta, when they created the Declaration of Arbroath, when they created the Declaration of Independence and all that. They knew exactly what they were doing. And like the Constitution, they knew exactly what they were doing. So, because some of them knew that the Illuminati, the elites, were getting ready to put future generations into positions of power that were going to not only destroy the lives of innocent people, but it would tear their whole structure and system down. So they made sure that they put laws in place to protect us, just in case we had dictators try and take over our countries. So we need to listen to them. We gotta like my mighty ancestors, like my iwi do, when we do the haka, and we stamp our foot and we slap our thighs and we wake the ancestors up and we say, rise. Come up into my body and give me the strength and power to fight the enemy. The haka. Kamate, kamate. Wake up, come on, let's do this. That's that. Give me the power, give me the strength, oh ancestors. That's what you need to invoke. The ancestors that wrote the Magna Carta, the ancestors that wrote the Declaration of Our Birth, the constitutions and that's who we need to be invoking. We need to have our ancestors wake up and rise and say, no, we're not doing this. You have no right. You have no right over me, and you have no power over me. And the second you say that to a devil or a demon, you have no power over me. In the terms of the occult, because I teach this to children who are scared of the things that go bump in the night, the second you say to a devil, you have no power over me, that's it. It's done. They have no power over you ever again. And so that's what you need to say, people. You need to rise up as one with your ancestors standing beside you and saying, Starmer, Labour, Trump, Musk, whoever, von der Leyen, whoever, you have no power over me, except this time we would say, you have no power over us. Because if we all say that together as one, it would be like a sonic boom. That would be going off like a nuclear bomb around the world, and then all the devils and demons would fall. But it's only going to work if we do it together. So, yeah, rise up, ancestors. Kamate, kamate. So, I'm not allowed to do that particular haka because I'm a girl. There's some hakas that women are allowed to do, but that particular haka that I'm talking about, women aren't allowed to do it. But you'll see it on the rugby field. If you know anything about rugby and the All Blacks, then that you'll know that haka, that particular haka. Yeah, but I'm not allowed to do that particular haka. I can say it, but I'm not allowed to do the actions and stuff, but it is there. So, right, so I'm going to go now and collect my bin, because the bin men have just collected my bin, my recycle bin. I've got so many plans to make a lot of money from recycling. I have an incredible business manifesto all sorted for my recycling plan, and it stretches far and wide from top to bottom of everything that I'm creating, because I know how to actually help Papatūānuku. I'm here to save her. And if I do it on my own, it's going to take me longer. But if I have enough people behind me, these people over in that bullshit summit in Brazil won't know what hit them. Will be like a wave of purity and cleansing and truth and healing and all that. That will be like a tsunami on them, on their asses. They won't know what's hit them. I'm just hoping that I can get the king woken up and saved before he goes down, because you know, I grew up with a monarchy, and I want to die with a monarchy, but God said it's his choice. If he doesn't jump, he goes down with the ship. If he does jump, he becomes the hero, and then he'll prosper. But regardless, the people of Great Britain will do really well with or without a monarchy. I'm just hoping that I can save the monarchy. But if not, you know, it's just the way it was meant to be. So I'm going to go now, and I will speak to you all later. But I had to go down into the underworld because of some information that I got, and I wasn't sure how to process it. And then I found out about what's bloody going on in Brazil and that, and then I was like, no, I need to. So I said to God, what do I do? And he said, hit record and speak. So that's what I'm doing. I do as I'm told, because I'm a good girl. So I'm going to go and have a coffee and get my bin now. I shall speak to you later. And I know there's a lot more people out there that listen than what's said, because every time it goes out, it'll always say, you had 70-something views, but the counter will say 0. That's because I'm shadow banned. So, okay, so I'm going to go, and I will speak to you later. Have a beautiful day. It's my birthday on Sunday, so if you have a drink, like, have a drink for me on Sunday. And, yeah, Put a candle on a cupcake for me because I can't have sugar and I'm allergic to gluten. I don't eat sugar and I'm allergic to gluten. So unless someone made me a sugarless, gluten-free cupcake, put a candle in a cupcake for me and light it and sing happy birthday to me on Sunday. I will speak to you later. Hold your head up high and know that you are loved. And I'll put a link in the description box in regards to what you need to do. Mwah.